On a moonless night, November 3rd, 1943, an icy wind whistled across the Honshu Mountains, carrying with it secrets that would vanish as quickly as footprints in fresh snow. Deep in the thick, cloak-like darkness, Control Station Number 7 hummed quietly, its radio operators bleary-eyed but alert amid the war's endless pressure. They expected the usual check-ins, routine acknowledgments as trains slipped through the valleys beneath the shadowed cover of pine and stone. But at precisely 2:15 in the morning, their headphones came alive with a voice twisted by panic and static. A voice from deep within the earth. "We've entered the Shinka Tunnel, but there's no exit. The lights, they're watching us." What followed chilled the blood of every soul in that control room. Screams. Raw, terrified, visceral. Metal crashed against metal. The reverberating terror blurred into the oddest sound. A lullaby, sweet and slow, echoing through the static until, suddenly, silence fell like a burial shroud. The operators tried to raise the Manyō 731 again and again. There was nothing. No lifeline, no call sign. The train, its crew, and whatever secrets it carried, had vanished without a trace. The government, swift, silent, and authoritarian, sealed off all information. Reporters who arrived at the control station were detained, sent away, or threatened. By dawn, it was as though Train 731 had never existed. But legends have a way of surviving the shadows that try to erase them. Whispers soon traveled along unofficial channels, in smoky backrooms, through scribbled notes passed hand to hand, even in temple prayers spoken in hushed tones. The story of the lost train could not be so easily buried. Manyō 731 was no ordinary transport. Rumored to be the pride of Japan's secret wartime engineering, it was tasked with ferrying technology and personnel through the heart of the mountains. The manifest, held under highest secrecy, listed 32 engineers, some of the Empire's best technical minds, 4 ranking officers, and a single sealed container, affixed with an ominous kanji. Ji-mi. Top secret. Officially, no one knew what the container held. Unofficially, rumors called it the singing box, a relic recently requisitioned from occupied Manchuria. It was said to be older than memory, with roots reaching back into dynasties lost to history and the dust of ancient warlords. Spiritual circles, both Shinto and Buddhist, warned of its power, of melodies that could distort the world and bind souls like moths to a flame. Yet on that fateful night, as the Manyō 731 thundered into the belly of the Shinka Tunnel, the container was safe, locked, chained, double-sealed. The officers barked orders with increasing urgency. The engineers chatted nervously, eyes straying to where the singing box rested among the cargo. None of them suspected that the line dividing their world from something far stranger was already splintering. When the signal died, the army moved fast. Within hours, an elite search unit arrived at the infamous tunnel. The mountain air bit at their faces, rifles slung low as they advanced. Yet the tunnel quickly defied all logic. Where the blueprints showed a passage 1,100 meters long, their measured pace found only 800. Rails simply ended, fused into unbroken rock as if swallowed by the mountain itself. No scrap of steel, no shredded uniforms, just a yawning blackness that drank every sound the soldiers made. Even footsteps faded. Voices cut short as though erased by invisible hands. Fear hung thick, and one young conscript, trembling in the unnatural stillness, dragged his fingers along the wall. There, in desperate half-moons and ragged lines, he found a message scraped into the stone. "We can't escape, don't come in." The men retreated, eyes wide and watching the shadow that seemed to pulse at the mouth of the tunnel. Their report, marked double classified, told of tracks that ended mid-air, walls hundreds of meters too short, and a silence so complete it seemed to crush hope itself. In the days that followed, the families of the missing clung to trembling hope, but none as tightly as Kyoko Kobayashi, whose son Ren had always been meticulous about documenting his life. Ren, she would tell neighbors, believed the spirits of the land watched over travelers in the mountains, and always carried a tiny transmitter to record his thoughts in secret. 3 days after the disappearance, as Kyoko sat numbly before her tiny altar, a package arrived. Inside, a single cassette tape, crackling through static, bearing her son's voice from the grave. They opened it. It's singing inside our heads. No one can leave. It wants us to stay and keep listening. Pain and fear soaked every syllable, as though Ren whispered from somewhere just outside the world. Before dusk, government men arrived, silent, suited, faces carved from stone. They took the tape, issued stark warnings, and vanished. Within a year, Kyoko herself wasted away, locked in a silence of her own, ears packed with gauze, as if trying to keep the lullaby from haunting her even in sleep. The train's legend seeped underground, lost in the black river of rumor and half-truth that flows beneath every country. Yet history has a way of uncovering its own remnants, and 55 winters later, in the dying light of 1998, 3 university students from Tokyo set out to defy the forbidding isolation of the Honshu highlands. They were adventurers, reckless, curious, and followed a faded map, lines traced over dusty pages by a grandfather who knew things that must not be named. Their hike ended at a concrete wall, seamless but ancient, stamped with signs half-eaten by rust. Do not open. Repetition is the end. They filmed as the sun slipped behind the peaks, laughter drifting in the thinning air. But their banter died the moment they pressed their camera to the cold surface. The wind stilled. On tape, just before the light shifted, less a color, more an absence, there came a sound. A distant train whistle, threading through the darkness like silver wire. Then, unmistakable, the humming of a lullaby, staggered and sweet, lingered for 10 seconds, sending one student stumbling backward while another pressed her ear to the stone. A voice, old and broken yet compelling, whispered in a dialect not spoken for centuries. You want to stay, forever too, don't you? The footage trembled, lost in static, then nothing. The world would have forgotten the students, except for the burned-out camera found half a year later not far from the sealed tunnel. The memory card, miraculously unscathed, sent chills through countless online viewers before being purged from every server within days. Even then, some reported that, if you listened carefully, the camera's dying battery played a melody faintly, as if something tried to nest in your thoughts. Theories flourished in the wake of their disappearance. Some whispered about time loops, places in the world where space folds in on itself, where minutes become eternities and paths double back in endless repetition. Others pointed to ancient scrolls from the Qin dynasty, tales of a box that sings, sealed long ago to prevent its melody from twisting reality and trapping souls. That relic, they believed, was what the Manyō 731 was carrying. Taiqing, a weapon, yes, but also a curse older than the mountain stones. Paranormal investigators, both reputable and eccentric, traveled to the region. Geiger counters sometimes spiked out of nowhere or failed entirely. Psychics claimed visions of a train crowned in green light, filled with shadowy figures staring blankly forward. And every year, like clockwork, villagers in the valleys below set out offerings of rice and sake, their faces turned from the slopes as they muttered prayers for those who missed their last stop. Local tales grew wilder with each retelling. Some swore that, on cold November nights, a train whistle echoed over the peaks, growing louder until it faded beneath the retreating moon. Hikers lost in the mist sometimes glimpsed shapes, men in tattered uniforms of another age, boots clinking on invisible tracks, eyes hollow with longing as they vanished into the pines. For a moment, the scent of diesel or the haunting melody of a long-lost song would linger, then dissolve, as if gently spirited away. Officials denied everything. For decades, every trace of Train 731 was methodically erased from Japan's archives, from newspapers, from memory. Those who asked too many questions received sharp reminders that the past was best left undisturbed. But not all mysteries yield so easily to silence, and not all journalists are so easily deterred. Yamamoto was one such man, tireless, obsessed, and, eventually, consumed by his search. Across 20 years, Yamamoto gathered forbidden blueprints, scanned microfiche under the table, bribed archivists, and tracked old soldiers now living overseas. He grew gaunt, haunted by the snippets of lullabies that crept into his dreams. In the fall of 2017, he confided in his wife that he was on the edge of something momentous. A final clue, a destiny he could not escape. That night, a call came, thin and reedy, like a voice submerged in water. He whispered to his wife only this, before leaving forever: "If you hear a lullaby, don't respond." His wife never saw him again. The case, like all others, was quietly closed. The truth, or what remains of it, endures only in the spaces between facts, in newspaper margins and encrypted message boards, in the shiver that runs up your spine when the wind whistles through the trees in the dead of night. No one knows what really happened to the Manyō 731. Did it fall through a rip in time, forever repeating a journey it cannot finish? Did the singing box devour the train and its passengers, lulling them into eternal, inescapable dreams? Or did the ancient spirits of the mountain, angered by war and secrets carried across their land, swallow it whole in a fit of cosmic retribution? What is certain is this: the train and its whispers have become a part of the mountain's ghostly fabric. On some nights, hikers say, if you walk close to the sealed tunnel's entrance, you may hear the faint sound of a lullaby in the wind. Soft, persistent, almost inviting. Some say that if you listen too closely, your steps begin to slow, your memories thin, and all you wish for is to follow the song deeper and deeper until you forget that you ever meant to leave. So if, by chance, you find yourself wandering the Honshu Mountains, the mist wreathing the trees, remember the warnings of those who never returned. Should a train whistle echo on a night with no schedule, or if a gentle tune calls your name, fight the urge to answer. Don't look over your shoulder, don't follow the sound. And above all else, never listen too long. Because certain stories should stay buried, certain songs should remain unsung, and some tunnels, carved deep in the living bone of the earth, promise journeys that will never let you return.